Welcome to Bass and Bonsai. We are almost out on the water, but we're in the house. We're going to be out on the water starting in the morning. It's roughly around 9 a.m. And we're going to give this reel another shot. Now, if you guys have been following along, this is, I called it a lot of names, but this reel, if you guys don't know which one it is, the Steez TW HLC. Why won't you focus? Oh my god. This 36 millimeter spool is crazy. I got it. If you guys were watching live streams, I found the spring, the zillions back together. It was laying like right underneath the table post, right almost in plain sight. Like I said, as soon as I let go and actually looked for it, I found it. So if you're following along on this story, this is it has a stiffer springs. It does have the boost with stiffer springs than your traditional, even your regular Mag Force Z, right, for that hyper long cast. And I was having issues. So it is still, I will never recommend this reel for a beginner or somebody that is kind of iffy about using, you feel you kind of struggle with bait casters anyway. You do not want this reel. I don't care if you want to cast far or not. This reel is very unruly, wild, hard to handle. But you know what I realized today when I got home from work and I went out and I started messing with it? Guess who's not a beginner? You guessed it, right here. I'm not. So I started messing around with this 7-foot heavy action rod, and I started, I had the half-ounce frog on, but I was like flipping it around like if I was just flipping or pitching, light, hard casting. Well, even though I tried to adjust it out a little bit, that didn't matter. This thing is very wild, but it's easily tamed. So there's two ways to do it. So if you have a very wild one of these, or maybe any kind of a boost, it's easier to, this one's going to come in handy because for what I'm going to use it for, I think I'm going to actually leave it on this one, but it possibly could work its way back into becoming a chatterbait reel for me. But let me explain why and why I think it is going to end up being a very good reel. Because if you guys know, I throw chatterbaits, right? Yeah, you guys know that. So what happens to me, even with the boost, but all my other reels, like I get them set, I like in my mind, a fairly loose reel, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You never fail. You turn to make this crazy cast. You saw something either pop up on the surface, or you just something spot in your eye, or the guy in front of the boat, or your buddy, you want to hit that spot before him, but it's a little ways out there, but you can outcast him, right? So you let it go, and it backlashes because you're set so loose in order to make long casts in general that you just overloaded it. And I talked about it already. The one thing this reel does, it handles the hardest cast you can throw at it like a champ, really. As long as you got it set up, sort of high, not real high. But then what it also does that I found out once I got out there playing with it, being it's such a free, under not a hard load, basically, you can have it set to where you can cast hard, but yet it's freed up to just little flips and pitches, underhand type stuff, and it doesn't want to backlash. But I typically, sometimes will ride that spool anyway when I'm doing that little close, because basically when you're doing that, you're not looking for distance, you're looking for accuracy, and you're kind of feathering it into a hole or something. So I was just out there playing around with that. So then what I also started doing, which I also do with chatterbaits, I'm always making a short run, so I started, I just never take my thumb off the spool when I'm doing little flipping, pitching, little shorter casts. And with the half-ounce frog anyway, so basically 3/8 chatterbait, spinnerbait with the trailer is going to be a half-ounce or better, or a half-ounce, chatterbait, spinnerbait, those kind of things with some kind of plastic on them are going to be heavier. And I mean, you don't have to even, you just have to not take your thumb all the way off when you're doing little light stuff. And there's no sign of it backlashing, and it's so free. It is amazing that 36 millimeter spool just takes off and lets you make little, what would be little short flicks and stuff, I think will even be a little long. It's hard to explain. Now, typically, if you set a reel up that light, then you go to cast, the startup just makes it backlash, right? So I think I may be onto something on how I want to use this, and so stay tuned. I'm going to go out and fish it tomorrow, and so far, just out what I was playing around, I'm like, this reel may be a very good reel for the way I fish, as long as I know which one I'm dealing with. Now, where I don't like this is for what it's for, hyper long cast. When I cast real far, I want to cast, and I want to let my thumb off that spool, and I want the reel to do all the work. I want the longest cast possible, and this thing always wants to start. If you guys watch the videos, it wants to start unloading, and it's still doing that out there. It was doing that today, and it will backlash right off the bat. If you can pitch it, no problem, not super hard, but if you just try to make a lob, overhead, sidearm, normal cast, say, 50 to 70 foot maybe, you're not trying for that 140 foot or whatever, it will backlash 100%. It's going to backlash unless you keep your thumb on it. But what I found is if I just, never really just take my thumb all the way off, just cast, and just, you can kind of feel it. It keeps it from being overran. So it's one of those things. If you fish for years, and you've had, the newer technology is way better than it used to be. You used to have some of those that are harder. But say if you don't, because what I also went out and tested this, because what I was curious is like, well, can I just simply adjust what they call the zero adjuster that I adjust on all my others? This reel up until today I hadn't messed with, and my Steez Limited, I still haven't messed with that one, but I am going to, trust me. I just am leaving it alone for right now. So what I did was I took this little frog and I let it go over the end, instead of like I've taught you guys over, well, I haven't taught you, I've suggested it. Maybe some of you I have taught, maybe some of you don't ever pay attention to anything I say, but I use like either one for my ultralight BFS stuff. I'll use like a 1 gram trout magnet type thing, right? Or for almost everything, I just use like roughly 2 grams or 1/16 of an ounce crappie jig. Let it fall. When it hits, when it makes a thud and hits the ground off the end of the line, I don't want this thing to go, very far at all, if any, if it's a unruly spool. Well, in this one, I went out there, and if I adjust it to where that frog falls pretty slow, really, like just falls and then hits the ground, and this doesn't do any sign, I can cast any which way I want to cast. No sign of backlashing. But I'm not going to get those ultra long casts, and if I do want to do any little short flips and pitches, I actually have to put a little more oomph into it to get the distance. It's a little harder to do. So if you're new to fishing and you wound up with the reel, that's basically, you just like, oh my God, it seems like it does nothing but backlash. That's a start, and then you kind of want to back it off, but tighten that up until, like I'd mentioned, if this is on the end of your rod, you push this button, that spool shouldn't just take off. This should fall, not super slow, but not super fast. And when it hits the ground, this should only just barely turn, maybe one more turn or no turns at all. And then play it from there, loosening or tightening as you feel you need to. You don't really want to do that with most of your reels, but some reels do have, or spools basically, are just so crazy and hard to control for some people that if you're there's nothing else to do until you maybe want to replace the spool. But what I'm finding on this, because it has the boost, it's going to let me cast as hard as I can or want to, and yet still do a lot of stuff with a fairly lightweight deal. It's just one of those things that I have to get it out on the water to what I'm talking about, and we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned. I'm trying to do maybe possibly tomorrow night a live stream. I don't know when the footage from fishing tomorrow. If I don't catch anything, there won't be any footage. I'm trying to put together a couple little videos. I got a lot of stuff I want to test out other than this reel, baits. I don't know what the bite will be like, but it's supposed to be almost 60 degrees. Haven't been out in a couple weeks, and where I'm going, I haven't been out since last year to the reservoir. So if you remember right, we were out there. It was colder water. I don't remember the exact water temps, but it was colder water last year. We got on a little bite there on some couple deeper rocky points with the I want to say, was it the deep diving jabberjaw? Dude, my memory's horrible. But with the jabberjaw for sure, in that olive shad color. So we're gonna get back out there And I'll be honest, the way they're calling for the wind and time I'll start about 9 a.m. It'll be about 40 degrees. And if the wind's already starting from the west, it should be blowing on the dam. Sets pretty much on the southeast side. No, wait, it sets on the southwest. Hang on a minute. Let me get my north and south. Okay, so it's blowing from the west. It'll be blowing across the top of the dam and then onto the one point maybe. But anyway, a lot of times that early, the wind's not a factor. But I'm going to start out trying several different things to see where these fish have moved up to. Heck, for all I know, they could already be up in the shallows to water trying to start spawning, and I can't get them to bite on anything, or who knows what. I haven't been out there in a while, so. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm going to like this. And even if I don't get out there doing stuff, baits that this would be utilized for, I'm still going to test it and put a little video together there and see what I think. At the end of the day, like, do I love it? Do I still hate it? Or is it livable on which way I find out to mess with it? I think I'm gonna like it. I was up until I got home tonight and actually went out there and just started messing with it. I was ready to, you know, it was one of those buyer's remorse. I almost wish I would have sent it back because I knew I was gonna probably eventually have to order those different springs we talked about, or just get a whole different spool, which is like another $100. But I do. It's a Steez. I think it probably is the best looking Steez I could get to put on one of these carbon lights. So as long as I can make it work, and then I'll have to finally utilize if I want to keep it on a 7-foot heavy, more for just like kind of what it is, bigger baits. But I've also got the Zillion 10 coming that was intended for this rod. This reel was intended to be my chatterbait reel, possibly, and it still possibly could. But we'll just have to wait and see. Depends on how used to it I get, used to using it I get, and how much I like it. Or am I like, I don't want to have to mess with that on my chatterbait. I'll leave it on this for, bigger stuff. Like this could be good, even though this is called a heavy. It's kind of like the medium heavy. It's got more bend in that tip than down in a little deeper. So the bigger 3/4 ounce rattle traps, of course, big jigs, of course, and stuff like that. So bigger stuff, and this reel may be the perfect one for it. Even a big chatterbait. So Z-Man Original, I would have no problem in fishing those half-ounce Z-Man Originals with that bigger hook and using this. Still, you just kind of load up and then yank and then reel, and I don't think this combo would be a problem for that either. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to get that out there real quick. I haven't given up on it yet. Just out there flipping, and like it may be one of those reels. I've yet to find a reel that I can run loose enough the way I like to do underhand pitching and flipping and get any kind of distance, yet I can still turn in just a split second and cast it as hard as I want without it backlashing. So this could be that reel. I may have found it not even looking for it, but it may be right here. So anyway, guys, get out, go bass and bonsai, whatever you do, make sure you have fun doing it. I'm getting ready to go to the movies to finally watch Avatar, The Way of Water, right? The Way of Water, we're going fishing tomorrow, so it could be a good luck omen. Yeah, I know, it's still playing in the Real D 3D. I'm going to go watch it. I've been going to go see it for what? How long has it been out now? 2 months? 3 months? Forever. Gotta go. Bye.